Welcome to Comedians After Hours with your hosts Willis and Vere.
Hello, I'm Adam Willis.
I'm George Vere.
And I'm Ian.
Welcome to episode 3 of Comedians After Hours.
Today's guest is Geoff Norcott. Geoff is a stand-up comedian and correspondent for BBC Two's The MASH Report. He's also been seen on Live at the Apollo, Question Time, The Daily Politics, and BBC Radio 4's The Now Show.
Before we start the podcast, I want to say tickets are still available for our comedy farce follow-up to the Starship Osiris, a serious play about World War II, at the Leicester Comedy Festival on Saturday the 24th of February 2018 at 8:30pm. If you need information about that, you can go to our Twitter, at Willis and Vere, or you can search for us on Facebook for Willis and Vere, or visit our website, willisandvere.com.
Right, without any further ado, let's crack on with this.
Yes, please.
Lovely, lovely. Yeah, hi, this is Willis and Vere. This is our...
Sorry, there was a small laugh because the Free Fringe banner at the back of the room just fell down. Oh wow!
It's just
Breaking free from PBH.
it has. So as the backdrop fell away, it reveals a stunningly white wall, which has actually really opened up the room.
It's nice, isn't it?
It's quite nice, yeah.
I'm finding it a bit garish, but I don't have to look at it.
Do you want to put it back up?
Yeah.
What, should I?
I think.
Are you enjoying it? Looking at the wall? You're enjoying it. All right, well we'll leave it then. We'll leave it then.
Yeah.
Good. We'll leave it on the floor for someone to pick up tomorrow as well.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Right.
How's it all going? How's Edinburgh going?
It's all right, mate. It's all right. The show is coming together. I've been speaking to a lot of acts this year where you preview it around the country, right? And it makes sense in fucking Derby, and it makes sense in like London, and then it gets here and like 40% of it doesn't make sense, and there's no explaining why. And it's not to do with the geographical location; it's to do with the Edinburgh crowd. There's certain things that they like jokes where they get to pat themselves on the back for understanding things. So you have to spend a few days. It's really annoying.
Well, we've really capitalised on that.
Yeah.
We've really dumbed down this year for the
really?
idiot audience. Yeah.
You've
They
got
love it.
Oh yeah, see nobody
They
plays.
love it this
Nobody
year.
plays for that idiot audience, do they?
We
They-
do.
Yeah, we're
Our
trying to
audience are
capitalise.
idiots,
I like
without
it.
a doubt. Idiots and geeks.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Well, you know, there's a certain.
Not you guys.
Yeah.
No one came from the other show, did they?
A contrast where you're saying idiots and geeks.
Yeah?
Essentially, I think social outcasts, generally speaking.
We just call them geeks. I think they're just losers.
So I'll put this one out after the Fringe.
Not
for this show.
The show's going well, and people are coming. Hey,
Hello.
It's another
Some more people have come in.
It's another two people have arrived. No, we didn't. Yeah.
Oh, the audience are doing a bit.
Come on in, gentlemen. This is yeah. So
All right, settle down, audience.
so yeah. We just talk. I'm a comic. They're interviewing me. So we'll have to. There's only 7 people here. It's worth just putting everybody fully in the picture. Sorry for my PR purposes. There are lots of people here, but 7.
And for hours.
7
there
who
are
speak.
loads.
Yeah.
The show's going well, and people are coming, and I'm middle-aged, and and so see, the shit that you guys enjoy is just not open to me. So it's all quite fucking depressing, to be honest. I just sit in my flat during the day, just kind of agonising over wording of like that. That's exactly it. Just thinking, why didn't that work last night? That worked the night before. And then an ad lib that worked, thinking, I've got a new ad lib, getting really excited about that, and then finding out that was only in the moment. And if anything, the audience lost respect for me as they saw that I was trying to fashion an ad lib from a previous night. It's I remember when I first came up here in 2006. I mean, I was still quite old then, but I got absolutely wrecked the whole month. It was really brilliant. It was really, it was great. But now I really enjoy the creative side of it. And my wife and kid are coming up on Friday, so it's all that boring shit.
Oh, so you're going to have to go and watch those
Sorry,
kid
not
shows.
That validating that thing that I live for.
You're going to have to go and watch those kid shows now.
Yeah.
No, he's 1.5. So
Still.
unless
take him anywhere.
unless Peppa Pig's doing an hour of one-liners, it ain't happening. That's his only thing that he likes.
Well, the Amazing Bubble Man's up again.
Yeah.
He's been up for about 20 years, sells out every year, somehow.
The
I've
Amazing
seen the
Bubble.
show, it's
Immediately, I know that he would like that. I don't need to know anything more. He's
Yeah,
going.
he's one of the Underbelly's best sellers, I think.
Isn't that
Some prick with
that's
some bubbles.
like good and also really fucking annoying?
It is annoying because the show's
Because
shit
he's
as
just
well.
we're all trying to think of ways of getting an audience. I'm guessing that he blows bubbles in really incredible ways.
Not even. No, just like big bubbles. That's basically it for an hour. It's like one of those guys you see in Trafalgar Square with a hoop in a bowl of washing up liquid, moving it around. It's that, honestly, for an hour. It's not impressive.
Jesus.
I hate him. I hate the bubble man. Because he just went for the jugular, didn't he, with an idea. I've spent 15 years trying to come up with a niche political angle, and I just bubbles. Could have done bubbles.
Yeah.
Could have retired by now.
Yeah. It's not as accessible as, liquid.
There must be as well, knowing Edinburgh. So if there's Bubble Man and he's the market leader, there must be something else. Do you know what I mean? Like glitter girl or someone.
Yeah.
I mean, now they sound like superheroes for kids. I think that's a good concept actually. But there must be people that have seen what Bubble Man's doing. 'Cause this is how Edinburgh works. I want a piece of that Bubble Man action.
Yeah, there almost certainly is. Unfortunately, it's not us. We can really capitalise on that next year.
Yeah, bloody hell.
You're having a brainwave.
No.
Oh, sorry.
But you do have to like have. You do have to have not, and this sounds like even like really small, almost babies in your audience, and
In our audience.
What?
no, I mean for Bubble Man.
Oh,
I'm,
right,
I'm
sorry.
presuming. So as much
Well, you
as
saw it.
much as Bubble Man is reaping the dough, I would hazard a guess that he takes a lot of Nurofen. I would imagine.
Yeah, I don't think.
He's got hernias and ulcers. But he's one more year of Bubble Man. He keeps telling himself. But we all need a niche, and I don't know if the my show's called Right Leaning but Well Meaning, so it's kind of being slightly right of centre politically, and you don't have to be that far right of centre in this world to be a radical fucking firebrand. I mean, I'm essentially in line with like 43% of the population, but here that's apparently an alternative viewpoint.
I read something where you were saying you got quite a lot of flack from comedy clubs and stuff for taking that angle.
That might have been. I know Andrew Lawrence has been barred from a few places. He's probably a bit more he's a bit more sort of adversarial, I suppose.
Yeah.
I'm not comedy guy. More online for me. I had the review in The Guardian a little while ago, as you can imagine. Yeah. Well, when I got told that they were in, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, this isn't going to go very well. But the guy, in fairness to him, Brian Logan, is a well-known reviewer, and he's he can go either way. But he was reasonably nice about it, so I was falsely encouraged by that. So I saw that there were 136 comments. This is within an hour of it going up. So I thought, oh, well, this is nice. I'll just go in there and see if I've got some new fans. No new fans. Not like one of the comments was
136
anything other than I fucking hate this Geoff Norcott guy. None of them have seen the show, I'm presuming, but
I was about to say they just read the review.
they read the review said I was nice, and the review said nice things, but they were like, no, I've not seen the show, but I'm going to conclude. And these are, I suppose, people that would presume themselves to be left-wing and progressive, but in a weird way, sort of reacting like reactionaries, because they're forming a view of something that they hadn't seen. And they just said, my favourite comment of them all was, Geoff Norcott, Katie Hopkins, Jimmy Savile, need I say more? Yeah.
What was the link?
A lot more.
What was the link?
Still don't know. And do you know what as well? On the Guardian comment section, it shows you how many people liked the comments. So you get that. I think 84 people
I love that you remembered that. That's stuck with you.
burnt into my...
The bitterness. It stayed.
It's burnt into my memory. Well, it's just interesting, isn't it? I don't mind, because ultimately, if you come to a sort of essentially liberal middle class arts festival like this,
Yeah.
you're in a cultural enemy line, so to speak. So you've got to accept that you're going to get a bit of shit. You know what I mean? The whole idea is predicated on it, but some of
You
it.
can't do like Kate Tempest at Glastonbury. That's not your crowd. Like,
Who's this? Is where I get really old now. Who's Kate Tempest?
just like a little poet?
The audience have turned on you.
She's a little poet. Is that a new?
Oh, no.
Lauren couldn't even believe that I didn't know that. Why? Is she?
But I think I don't know.
Is she amazing? Is she like really well known? Is she? She's mediocre. Don't say that. Lauren's a big fan.
Hand if you've heard of Kate Tempest.
Yeah.
About half the audience. About 4 people.
Look, don't tell me.
About 50 people have heard of it.
Oh yeah, I get it. Well, she big on the old Insta chat, is she? Yeah.
Does she do
Big
that?
following on the old
I don't know.
Slamagram, whatever it is.
We're really bad on social media. Actually, you're not speaking to the right
We're
people.
fucking dreadful.
I suppose that is a stereotype, isn't it? Just presuming that all people are totally across all social media. There must be young people that just think, oh, fuck it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
You do it the old way, you just send pamphlets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That must happen.
Yeah.
You could be those
That's why
guys.
we've packed the room out.
Yeah. I have to feel this is a pleasing turnout, you know what I mean? And,
Yeah.
Do you know what? The thing is,
uh,
although there are 7 people in
That
the
sounded needy, didn't it, by the way? Like I needed reassurance. I just know how Edinburgh works, and I think 7 people in a storeroom
That we haven't flied for.
yeah, it isn't actually that bad.
We haven't flied for this.
Yeah.
So.
It's the pulling power of right-wing comedy, mate.
It's based on the proximity to my house.
Good.
Well, thanks for pissing on that, mate. You could have just let me dream for a minute.
Anyone else? Why did everyone else come?
I live with you.
Yep, we know you. We know the front row. And the back row?
You just ate across the road.
Sorry.
Is that?
Ate across the road.
Oh, okay, good.
So the only person that's here because of me is me. That's fine.
And us.
Yeah.
You say that I know them, and this is
We
the
also
first
saw
time I've
him on
come.
the telly.
You saw me on
Aha.
The Daily Mash.
the match
Hey,
report.
this is
Yeah.
a good
There
link.
was a draw there. There was a draw.
This is
Yeah.
a great link. Go on.
Yeah,
Talk
well,
about
I
that.
don't like to talk about the current topical smash hit news show I've been involved in.
I actually didn't like the telly programme.
Oh, fucking hell.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, look,
Can we get a mic in the audience?
So I know so the Daily Mash, for people that don't know, is a website that's been around a long time, and it's got a massive and devoted following. And the Mash Report is a program I'm involved with. They're trying to take some of the principles out and take it to telly. But like this lady here, a lot of people are such big fans of the website. That you know, because the TV show is not the Daily Mash. It's an attempt to. All right, we're trying our best. Fucking hell! Get yourself on the Guardian comment section, love. All right. Yeah. I mean, I love. I love the daily. I love the, but I do enjoy the TV show as well. It's like I do. It's nice to be involved in something where you think like, and it's not just my bit, obviously, that I enjoy, but I think there's some really good people in it, and it makes me laugh. You know what I mean? When I'm watching the records, there was a sketch in episode 2, which was, and it was one of those classic Daily Mash headlines that said, "Woman thinks man is her friend." Right? Just a simple thing. And the sketch was, see, you're laughing now, right? And the sketch was of that classic thing of you get to a certain age where there's a girl that just wants to delude herself that a bloke just likes her, and you've got to watch it. It's a really funny sketch, and so yeah, annoyingly it was like fucking way funnier than my bit that week, but whatever. I've dealt with it, and it's I think it's done all right, and I think that the industry have got behind it a lot. You know what I mean? They want the UK to have a sort of proper satirical show that sort of feels British in a way as well.
Mm-hmm. Ian, can we have your first question, please?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. First question. What is comedy all about, according to Geoff Norcott?
Comedy, we're supposed to be. It's the difference between what you expect and what you end up with, isn't it? That's the pure form of it. So in a basic sense, you're walking down the road and you just want to be walking down the road, but you stand on a banana skin and then you go arse over tit. That's it. You know,
It's funny, isn't it?
yeah, it is funny, even as I was thinking it. You know what gets really hard as well is like, people say what makes you laugh as a comic. You've been framed, ultimately, because you can't beat that. Do you know what I mean? A really funny you've been framed clip, because there's a purity about it. And I recommend, if you're a fan of like pratfalls, there's one on just on YouTube, and it's an Irishman slips or something like that. Like even the title. But my God, but what happens is, so there's a spoiler. I mean, the title sort of gives it away, right?
I think this is good.
But there's a camera, and it's looking down a road, and it's just, and there's obviously somebody reporting on it saying the icy conditions have, and then there's a guy who obviously clocks a camera, and he sort of thinks to himself, "Oh, am I going to be nervous here? No, I'll actually just stride on with an even greater sense of purpose." And then he walks across a drain, and it's like, there's a slide tackle from a fucking ghost. It's astonishing. And I love showing people the clip because I've never seen anybody that didn't find it hilarious.
I had the same thing with the jetpack man.
Oh, yeah.
So there's this guy who's built his own jetpack, and he's on live TV on the news.
Yeah.
And there's going to be this big thing, and he's gonna start this festival by flying up next to a big lake on the jetpack.
And the camera crew's all ready. They're sitting on the other side of the lake. They've gone right there to get the height of him going up. And he goes, they go, oh, so get ready, and he goes, and it starts right now. And he goes, he never goes higher than he was when he was standing on the ground.
Yeah.
He tries to go up and falls in the lake.
Beautiful.
And it is just.
And as they're doing that, the camera assumes it's
Zooms
going to fly
out.
out, so they zoom back,
Yeah.
and it just falls off the
It
bottom of
just
the
falls in
screen.
the lake. It is. Oh, I honestly can't do it justice, but I've probably seen it about 100 times, and I've laughed every time.
I mean, and that's the thing, isn't it? Because I suppose in that situation, it was. And what's funny about that is he was reaching for something so much greater, something that humankind has been trying to do to fly like a bird, and but he didn't.
Yeah, and he pushed his reporter a bit to try and sort of hold on to him, and then just falls in the lake.
Oh well, if you want to talk about people like losing their dignity, that adds to it for me. If they make a desperate and irrational attempt to sort of correct it. I was when I was a teacher. We did a talent show, and often at talent shows you get it'd be either the music teacher or the drama teacher. It'd be their annual opportunity to kind of showcase their talents. And there was a music teacher, this very nice lady, bit kind of like wacky, and she did Cornflake Girl by Tori Amos on the piano, which is kind of like the ultimate wacky lady song, right? And then she was like, I guess I was a cornflake girl. And then she threw her head back and then just went arse over tit off the back of the stage. And just hair everywhere. She had this really long auburn hair, made a grab at the keyboard like that one there. And then that came, just everything, curtains going with it. And then I'm going to tell you a story which is not that politically correct. So I'm already just losing my shit. And I'm one of the teachers right at this point. So I'm at the back. And then there was a lad called, I won't say his name. His name's called Robert. I won't say his full name. And he had a lot of issues, Robert. Do you know what I mean? He had a lot of things going on. He's a lovely lad. And he then went up and tried to sing The Entertainer, right? So you know how that one goes. But it was the most... Do you know that one? Yeah. Right. So that's how you play it properly. But he couldn't get through it, and it was like... And it took so long, and it was just building, and then the whole school, right? This is when you know you're a comedian, right? So all the school, everyone, all the decent human beings there are willing this kid, just get it right, Rob. Do you know what I mean? It's so amazing. Just get over it. And I had to leave the room because but this is after fucking Cornflake Girl, right? So I just. Yeah, and then other teachers and students, when they clock you laughing at a kid who has unique educational needs, trying to better himself, and you're supposed to be just get out.
It is funny though. I've been doing that. I've been working as a SEN teaching assistant. You can't help it. Sometimes, autistic kids do some funny shit.
Yes,
that's not there.
I'm
not laughing at them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this gets is gone all done, but it's like dementia as well. It's another one of those things that it just goes with the territory that sometimes God, this has got dark, hasn't it? Dementia and autism are hilarious. It turns out. Can you play it wrong? Because that's hard, isn't it, on piano to deliberately play something badly? Try. That was. Yeah, that was it. That was probably a high watermark for comedy for me. I got a lot out of it, and also with the teacher as well. In some ways, because it was just she shouldn't have been showing off like that as well.
Yeah.
She shouldn't have been using. I wouldn't have gone up there and just gone. So okay, the talent show's going well. Speaking of talent shows, and then tried to riff out some.
Yeah. Were you doing stand-up when you were, because you were taught English?
Yeah, so there was a period of overlap, with a lot of jobs. So there was a period where I was gigging around the country and getting in once. I mean, Jesus Christ, this shouldn't have happened. But I did a gig in Truro, right? 8 hours drove all the way back, went straight to teach. Right? I remember I just fell asleep in front of the class. Just fell asleep, and I just remember it's weird. And when you fall asleep, you're not supposed to. It's some of the best sleep you ever had. You know what I mean? It's really weirdly peaceful and stuff. And then I just remember waking up, and there's all these kids just looking at me. But you can't ask them how long you were out for. You got to make out that's what happens sometimes.
I'd love to know what they were saying. I'd love to know what they were saying while you were saying.
Why didn't they leave?
Mr. Norcott.
Well, you know that they were a top set. They're a bunch of pussies. If that had been any normal class, they would have just fucking left. You know what I mean? They were sitting there like, no, we just thought that we'd wait till, didn't want to get in trouble.
Did you tell them this when you woke up?
No. What happened, and this is quite a strange, I didn't know how I was going to get through that day, but weirdly, and I've always remembered this as a potential cure for when you're really tired, I had a really cold glass of water and a shit, and I was fine for the rest of the day.
Great.
Genuinely, I don't know why. Yeah.
So who did you like? Who do you like in comedy now and when you were starting out?
So I started out, I think Ricky Gervais then, like his first tour in particular, Animals, I like that sort of contrarian line of comedy. Of late, I mean, I think like Catherine Ryan's amazing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that everything she does interests me. Romish as well. It's great when you get to work with these people, but name drop. But they're exciting people to watch. But I think part of the reason I like them is because they got that fearlessness of the American comics, and it's a bit of a cliche for a white guy stand up to say it now, but like Louis C.K., Bill Burr and Amy Schumer, people like that, and Chris Rock, because they're just, I don't know what it is about Americans. It's become trendy to make out like Americans aren't really cool, but they fucking are really cool. I mean, being America is cool. That's the place where they make films. Everything that I've ever really loved comes from there. So I've always been a bit in awe of the US.
Has it always been stand up as well?
Yeah, but
like stand-ups. Has it always been stand-ups you've admired when you were like starting out and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't
for
really.
me, it was like sitcoms and stuff. It was never
yeah.
really.
Well, yeah, when I was a kid, I mean, watching sitcoms with my mum and stuff, Cheers, and this way I'll show my age. Butterflies. There was this sitcom. One of these weird like sitcoms when you look back and realise it was slightly more enigmatic than anybody gave it credit for. But it's about this depressed housewife that couldn't cook, that was having this weird affair with a bloke that she met on a bench, and it was on at like 7 p.m. and everyone was cool with it.
Yeah. Ian?
Yes.
Maybe a second question, please.
Okay. Should I bother doing that?
Yeah, what do you mean, should you bother? Yeah. I can't believe it. What do you mean, shall I bother? Is he serious? He's taking the piss.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Get another Ian.
Just get out.
No one else plays piano.
No?
You're right for now, Ian.
Okay. So apparently you work for Nuts TV.
Oh.
Did you feel as if you'd really made it when you became a commissioned writer for Nuts TV?
So, yeah, right.
That's loaded, that question.
In a way.
So there was a vicious streak.
So there's a bit of right. So if you're not aware, Nuts TV was a lads mag that ran for a while, and then somebody had the idea that it needed its own TV station. Right? Now it sounds worse than it is, and yes, you got to remember the political landscape. The feminism was having a rest then. I don't know why. It just stopped. Feminism was a strident force, right, throughout the 90s, mid to late 90s. And I was at university during that time. I was all on board, and then I don't know what happened. Then there was a thing called post-feminism, where people just said, oh, it's fine, girls like pink. And it was almost like a return of traditional things. I remember when I was a teacher, like there was loads of girls that had like Playboy, pencil case, and then so that was in the era that Nuts TV happened. Now, in my defence, I wasn't. I did a sports show on it, so it wasn't to do. There were glamour girls on Space Hoppers. There were like in the studios, but not on the sports show, sadly.
Right.
So I was on with Comedy Dave, who was Chris Moyle's sidekick, and I didn't actually write for it in the end. They would just pay me. Basically, they were paying me so little to be on the program. They just found a bit of writing money because they actually felt bad for me. Was the truth. But that kind of followed me around a bit. Because what happened then was all the TV comedians on TV, all the really cool comedians, would then use being on Nuts TV as like a byword for being shit. So I'll be watching like a topical panel show, and they go, "Yeah, well, it could be worse. You could be on Nuts TV." I was like, "Oh." Yeah.
Play a question out, Ian.
Okay.
Classy, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at least I think, the audio will sound classy.
Yes.
The actual reality of the show.
Well, they don't know. They actually don't know what room we're in now.
No.
These people in the room do, but your audience, the people listening to it, don't know where we are.
It's got, I mean, for an Edinburgh downstairs room, it's got a pleasing lack of sort of spores in the air. And I don't feel like I'm going to die as a consequence of being in it.
What do you
think? So it's already in my top 10 Edinburgh downstairs rooms.
What do you think of this?
This wooden... Lovely. I don't even know what you'd call that. So it's against one of the adjacent walls. I don't know what it is.
I don't know.
I assume it's to go with the tiki
Sticks.
bar
Like
theme.
tiki.
Oh yeah.
Like a tiki.
Because the upstairs bar here is. I don't. What is the theme of the upstairs bar?
Tiki.
What does tiki mean?
I don't know.
I keep saying
I
tiki.
assume
It's
it's
the noise.
So I assume it's Hawaiian, but maybe that's insensitive.
Tiki. Do you know what tiki is?
It's more Caribbean kind of feel. It's like a Pacific
I
Island.
feel like also in 2017 there'd probably someone that would be offended by the word tiki as well.
Yeah.
Just instinctively
Yeah.
there'll be
You're
somebody
offended.
like
Yeah,
that was
he's
so.
pointing at himself. He's
Do you,
That
do
hasn't
you,
been called since like mid 2015.
what do you think about how progressive and things have become? What's your
In
opinion?
the world. Would you mean like I suppose what has political correctness got?
Yeah,
out of it? No, I mean
political correctness
I
gone
think
mad?
I
Has
mean
it gone
what's
mad?
on my mind this year is I think that it's a valid thing to not talk about people in ways that upset or offend them. But I do think that there is a culture, and this is on left and right, of people who wake up every day and they don't feel alive until they've had their first argument of the day on Twitter. So they tend to be looking for things that fall into their slipstream. And what that does is it kind of undoes the good name of political correctness. So, for example, if you have like an old TV presenter that says something a bit lazy about women, right, which I would have called chauvinist once upon a time, but now the word is misogynist, which used to be reserved for hatred of women, but now that tends to refer to anything that's considered less than ideal. So what that then does is middle of the road people, or mainstream Britain, which isn't represented at the festival so much, they just switch off because they think, I don't think he's a misogynist.
Yeah.
No, he's just an old fart who said something stupid, so they kind of tap out, but I think that's the thing on left and right. They just want to go at each other every day on these issues, and I don't think they make up the majority. And I suppose it's the same with racism to a point as well. Like I think there's a difference between something like xenophobia and intolerance and biological racism, which I think is the worst. The worst kind of. Got serious, didn't it?
Ian's nodding quite vigorously.
Yeah.
There's something to say, Ian?
I agree.
Yeah.
You're nodding
Oh,
very
good.
vigorously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that there is a culture as well. Things like no platforming as well. I think that that's dangerous because there used to be an idea that bad ideas die in the sunlight, right? So you give them a bit of oxygen, people see that they're bad ideas. Obviously, when Trump gets elected, that slightly debunks that. There's a lot of bad ideas. There was a lot of sunlight, but the bad ideas just grew like a greenhouse. But I don't think you should. Unless somebody's breaking the law, I don't think you should no platform someone, because I think no platforming is like that. But like when a toddler covers their eyes and you think they think no one can see their body, but you can. It's that immature to
I don't know if I know what no platforming is.
So it's like, for example, like Richard Dawkins was recently denied a platform at a university because it was believed because he has a lot of criticisms of Islam as a religion, so he was denied a platform to speak. I don't like Richard Dawkins. I think he's a bit of a prick, to be honest, but I don't equally more than that. I don't like the idea of him not being able to give his side of the discussion. But I think it's an immature reaction, isn't it? And I don't think it's all young people, but I just think there's a very strident voice in university culture.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
But it's immature, isn't it? It's like, right, if I stop you speaking, then it doesn't exist. But all it does is it flourishes somewhere else.
There was a great programme recently on Channel 4 I think it was called Has Political Correctness Gone Mad? One of the strands was it looked into campuses, university campuses, and there was a particular board of people whose job it was on the campus was to decide whether or not something was offensive or not. And they're all white, and they're all a bit fat, and they were all sitting there, and they were deciding that Mexican hats are offensive. I don't even know if I can say Mexican hats. Sombreros are offensive.
Yeah.
Dressing up as Pocahontas is offensive. Men dressed as women is offensive. Like cross-dressing for comedy.
But that's groupthink, isn't it? I mean, that's a classic definition of groupthink, is that there's a momentum to being together as a group where people go like, yeah, and like, yeah, no, absolutely, Gavin, right? And no one's got the balls to just say, I don't think that's a shit idea. I think we've got a little bit carried away here. And yeah, I mean, the kind of comedy I do, I wouldn't describe myself as an edgy comedian at all. I'm talking about quite mainstream political views, but if there is ever offence taken, you could be guaranteed the kind of person that it is, because it is, and virtue signalling gets overused as a word now, but there is a kind of person that they just want to say, I'm a good person, and they need to find a vessel through which to do that sometimes. I think there's a big difference between trying to help people and then trying to continually say, I'm a good person because I think this, I don't think opinions really change much.
Wow. Don't think opinions really change much.
Well, no, just expressing your. But you got to like, what's your active evidence that you're a good person? Do you know what I mean? Because you could spend like 10 hours a day online talking about something, but if you spend 1 hour a day actually fucking help someone, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
That's almost good enough, isn't it? Though. For us.
What? Just
Some people was just sitting there and posting. Yeah, I did this today. What was it? You keep posting stuff you kept doing
I don't remember.
about what was it about helping the kid with something? The pirouette.
Oh yeah, I did a pirouette.
What's this?
That
This
was
is a good example of virtual signaling.
So, so I was in a school. I was working in a school.
good. I'm glad you said working.
I was working in a school.
Up to that point, I'm like, I don't know why. Yeah.
I'm gonna help.
All right, if we could, right. There's a kid, right? Kids are calling him he's about 7, 8. Some of the other boys are we're calling him a ballerina, and I said, nothing wrong with being a ballerina.
Yeah.
I've done some ballet in my time.
Adam lied.
I said, I've done a bit of ballet in my time. I said, watch this. And then I did a double pirouette. Believe that if you will. Right?
Oh, absolutely. Get up.
That was.
Can we have some pirouette music?
Yeah. Fuck. I did not see the evening turn. Alright, hang on. I don't have the space. Right.
Oh, wait, come on. You've got the space. Oh.
That was
Wow,
good.
that was really good. I thought you'd fall on your ass.
Yeah.
We'd have some comedy. But you did that. That was good.
Cheered him right up.
Sorry, go on. Keep going.
Yeah, cheered him right up. Had a great day. Thought
No, but what was the
I'll
point
tell.
of that story?
I thought I'll tell people about that.
On Facebook.
Girls will like it.
Girls, yeah.
Did they? They did, yeah. They did. They loved it.
Well, they like it.
End of the
Whether-
day.
Whether that translates to any sort of
actually like
sexual congress, I don't know. I think
Oh,
it's,
well,
No, it
well,
didn't.
did it?
No, I didn't.
They didn't? Oh,
Um,
yeah.
you
I mean,
know,
not with the. I mean,
But can I say as well? This is so. This was maybe I don't know, 6 months ago, and I don't really post on Facebook, but it keeps getting brought up. Keeps getting brought up.
so you believe that you inspired this child by saying, "Hey, dudes can do pirouettes too."
Yeah, I thought I saw myself as a sort of, at the time,
Yeah.
I sort of feminist hero for that hour, for that 5
feminist-
minutes.
So was it a boy that wanted to be a ballerina?
Yeah,
So where's
Oh,
feminist?
That's interesting.
I don't know which women you were
I
inspiring.
went, hey man, ballet's not just for girls. And
Yeah.
then that cheered him right up.
ballet.
He was done.
I think you've watched Billy Elliot and you've taken some ketamine, and but fair play.
Do you
fair
aspire
play.
to that sort of, to be Billy Elliot?
No. Firstly, I'm older than Billy Elliot. And my ballet, and as impressive as that was, I think,
impressive.
we
It
all
was
agree
good.
That was quite
It
impressive.
showed remarkable poise and control.
Thank you, thank you, Jeff.
Seven.
I appreciate that.
Put it on the poster for next year. That you've got remarkable poise.
Can we have that?
Can we have that?
What's that?
Can we have a quote from
Showed remarkable poise and control. Yeah,
Adam Willis?
Absolutely.
Great.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely.
When you do your solo work.
Oh, lovely. I love that.
Don't see how that quote from me is going to help anything, but you can.
Yeah.
I could say
I will
You've
take
been on
anything.
TV.
I've been. Yeah.
I
well,
saw you in Question Time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Question Time is an interesting one. That was. I really like bitching about how low the fee was for that.
Excellent. Go on.
You shouldn't be,
What was it?
because I know it's such an ungracious thing to do, but that makes me laugh. Like the idea that, but I do. It is. I don't know if I'm allowed to say. All right. So first up, I would have thought that it would either be no money, right? That's what you think, and then you go, fine, it's Question Time. You do it for the prestige, or it would be like a fat fucking fee.
Yeah.
BBC got a lot of
It's
money.
£100. Now I'm not saying that's.
fuck that.
I'm not saying that's nothing. I'm not saying that's nothing. I would. It's more offensive.
Yeah.
Than they were basically going, "Me, there's your train journey, son." Like I felt offended by the fee it
I wonder
was.
how much David Dimbleby gets.
Travel as well as that.
No. That's sort yourself out, Jeff. No hotel. Yeah.
That's really funny.
Yeah. I know. And that's the same for everybody you've ever seen on
Not
it.
Dimbleby.
Not Dimbleby. That's where all the money's going.
Come on.
He's
Yeah.
really nice.
More than 100 quid. Yeah.
He's so nice. Like he's got that. Like I don't. Just some people are so special and gifted and talented. He had that real sparkle about him, and after.
Sorry.
Oh, what's that?
Oh, are you talking about that noise?
Yes, please.
we don't have control over that noise.
No. That's what happens when you hold a show in a shitty cellar.
That is, somebody has asked for a weird cocktail.
Did this happen on Question Time?
Well, on Question Time, so it's filmed at 7 p.m. A lot of people don't think it goes out live, but they film it just in case like there's like something bang out of order on it. And there was a guy that started getting a bit sort of crazy in the audience, and then I got involved with a bit of beef with Diane Abbott on it.
They cut that out as well.
What's that?
They cut that out?
No, that carried on. We were still going as the credits rolled, because basically, and this is probably not going to endear me any further to, but I voted Leave as well, you know, and I'm passionate about the idea that you could have voted Leave and not been a racist, bigoted idiot, right? So the Labour Party at that point had changed their pitch, which was, oh, we love Leave voters, Leave, we've got to reach out for Leave, and she kept saying this, and I was ticking, and then eventually I said, well, you know, they might have thought of that the following day when you tweeted and called them all racist, right? Yeah. And then there was quite a lot of, like, quite informed and, like, middle class Leave voters in the crowd, and they clapped, and then Diane was like, I'm not fucking having that, right?
She said that?
This mug coming up here, this is my manner. And then,
BBC?
so she waited and
bloody
waited,
hell.
and then the next question, she kind of come back at me about that, even though it wasn't about that, and I come back, and then afterwards, she wouldn't shake hands with me afterwards.
Oh dear,
So
Diane.
that's a bit. I thought it was all like, you know, hey, Diana's for the cameras.
Yeah.
No, she doesn't see it like that. Although, interestingly about Diane Abbott is she has a serious entourage of like young ladies, really cool.
It
young
seemed
women.
on social media it was
Yeah,
very popular.
I feel weird for like bringing that up now, but it was. I think anybody that was in that green room would have commented on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This has got very loud, this noise.
This is
I'm trying to
irritating.
ignore it, but it's very
I feel
loud.
like
Is there a DJ upstairs?
Doing this noise.
I think probably they're washing glasses, aren't they?
It's probably something like that. That's annoying, isn't it?
Bloody hell.
Do they know who we are? Do you know who we are? No one knows who we are. Fucking we'll stay with the noise.
I've also realised I've done a few podcasts. I keep banging on about Diane Abbott. It just feels like I was like she's
But I
moved
think-
on from it.
But I think clearly it's like you've had beef with Diane Abbott before it was popular. Because
Yeah.
suddenly
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, she does get horrific online stick for being a black woman in politics. I don't dispute that, but I also believe that shouldn't be a reason for not engaging with her as a politician. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think she's been that great. And I think that she had a career, didn't it? With Diane Abbott, the next thing was just get yourself on Strictly. Do you know what I mean? She had the gig with Andrew Neil. It was all fine. And then Jeremy is just like, hey, come back in, Diane. Back you come. And I think that she was in her dotage, and I think that was a good place to be. So, you know, she was almost Home Secretary. Do you know what I mean? But, yeah.
Never know, maybe she's sat in a room talking about you tonight.
I hope so, but my ego. But I think she moved on. Yeah, no, she's been. Listen, I respect what she's done. She was a firebrand politician for a long time, you know. But yeah, I just in a weird way, I'm quite ageist when it comes to politics. I like people like young, dynamic. But I don't want that in comedy because I'm 40, you know what I mean? In politics, I particularly in politics as well, I don't like seeing like, this is one of my things against Corbyn, is he's 68. I'm like, just fuck it. I mean, you've got male relatives at 68 and they're not really that in the game, are they? I mean, they have to be managed.
But so you're playing to the wrong crowd.
Well, but Theresa May, but she's a woman, and women are more mentally resilient, I think, at that age, and I think
he's
that
he's turned it well. He has turned that well.
He gets carried out the village.
but I do. I mean, but I
Does
only
his
base
pirouettes
that
and
on
leaves.
everything I've ever seen around me in terms of family. And as men and women past 65, men go downhill rapidly, and women just get more fucking resilient as well. So I am sort of ageist and sexist, but but not in the way that you'd think.
They balance out.
Well, I'm sexist against men in beyond a point, beyond a certain age. Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah.
Somewhat.
Those fucking white guys, man. Straight white males just running the world.
On that subject,
Ian. Why was that so much effort? Why did you go?
Yeah, he's been really arsey this evening, isn't he?
I won't comment.
All right, thank you.
I think this is a good one.
Do you think that part of the reason that you lean to the right is because so many left wingers are so insufferable?
Yeah, well, I think that there is that thing with the left that they just believe, and it's been a long-standing thing, that like left versus right sort of equals goodies versus baddies, and there's not really like there's so many historical examples of where left can go a little bit tits up. Stalin, Mao, Venezuela. You know, there's loads of examples, and yet for some reason it's no, we're the good ones, we care. But I just think at extreme ends it's probably true. But all right, I'm a baddie, fucking whatever.
You heard it here.
But Darth Vader was a baddie too. Darth Vader was a baddie, and he was cool, and we respected that he was.
Where's he doing stand-up this year?
To a point. What's that?
So where's his set this year?
Where's he doing?
I think he's doing a balloon, isn't he? He's gone down a bit.
He's doing beatboxing on Leaf Walk. Sounds shit for him. Sounds so bad.
There probably is some twat dressed as Darth Vader.
Yeah, I saw a lot last year. I think I saw Darth Vader playing a trumpet.
Oh, just fuck off.
People fucking
Seriously.
loved it as well.
There's about 5
Pile of
Yodas
shit.
up here. We've seen them floating around.
On the fucking little
Yeah.
seat that they sit on. It still blows. It's something about going to another country that you forget what is shit and what isn't. So like, I'd be the same. Here, I look at that and think this is bullshit. If I went to Lisbon and I saw Yoda floating, I'd be, fuck, it's Yoda! Where's the seat go? Even once it's shown to you, you still go, oh my god, it's Predator! He's smaller than I remember him and less menacing.
He's clapped. Someone's gone scared.
That Predator's always on the bridge.
Is he still there, the Predator?
Yeah.
2 years ago, I saw him get arrested. Because they were, yeah.
Predator
There was
got
a PCO had him, and there was one behind who had to hold his stick. And apparently, him and the alien at the other end, they'd been in a little gang.
This is bollocks.
No, this is true. They were in a little gang stealing people's handbags. When one of them would scare them, the other one would come along.
And alien would come around.
He would come along.
Oh my god.
I don't think it was the other guy dressed as an alien, but apparently that was going on.
There is a point where you'd be gutted that you've been mugged, but you go, but you know what? These kids, they've. It's better than have. Oh, I was going to say something awful then.
Oh, come on.
No, I don't. No.
Guys, you want to hear something awful?
Yeah.
You're losing. I was going to say, it's better than having acid thrown in your face. Exactly.
We asked for it and we got it.
You know what? Is it?
You're not wrong.
Is it a
You're not
joke,
wrong.
or is it a statement of utter fact? It's a statement of absolute fact. It is definitely better than having acid thrown in your face. And this is an example, I suppose, of sensitive reactions where you could say something like that. People get really upset. Are you taking the piss out of people that have had? No. I'm saying that that's a really fucking bad thing to happen, and I would rather get beaten up by someone dressed as fucking Hulk Hogan. You know? Yeah. I remember like back in the end of the 80s, I'm a Wimbledon Football Club fan, and there was a real, like, the North-South thing was way more acute then than it was now, especially the wealth element of it. And I remember like going up to Liverpool, and this is when unemployment hit 1 million in Liverpool, I think, and then we were just all showing them like £5 notes. It was so crass. And they would go, have you seen a £5 note? Have you seen a £5? And then it was just... Have you got a BMX? Oh my God, this is even worse. So I was a kid at this point, and they were singing to a kid, have you seen a BMX?
Child, like a football child.
To a child.
Have you seen a BMX?
Mate, I mean, like,
horrible.
football is always... Football. I've stopped going to football because the atmosphere is so unbelievably poisonous. Even now. I go to cricket now, where everybody... people always laugh when I say I go cricket. Like, I'm allowed to go.
What do you think that
cricket.
is? Why do you think people laugh?
Well, because it's seen as like an upper-class kind of gentrified sport. But, you know, it's only in London it's like that. You go around the country and fucking hell, I went to Old Trafford to watch cricket, and it's pretty ripe, and Headingley and stuff like that. But what I like about cricket is everybody wins. Like, even if England get hammered, I like cricket more than I like sport in England. Whereas football's the other way round. Is like sport in your Premiership club comes ahead of absolutely everything, and there's just this kind of like a tribal. Like, people can't wait to get in somebody else's face. It's such it's such an awful energy of football. That's also probably why we got into clubbing as well. It's why I started going. God, this now sounds like me trying. Because why I started going clubbing, guys, with EDM, electronic techno, and well, that would be for shit.
Yeah, we don't have that anymore, I think.
You don't know. Yeah, well, you can't. Like,
We stopped having fun
afford
a couple of years ago, I think.
Go to clubs, can you? Oh, yeah. Do you know what's weird about Ibiza now? I still go once a year, right? Which is kind of tragic in its own way. But like young people can't afford it. That's what's so ridiculous. They now cater to old fucks like me that go to Ibiza for a week but can only go out for one night. And on that night, obviously, you way overdo it. And it's just like it's sort of growing old together. What do you do? I mean, like you got money. Where'd you get money from?
No,
Who gives
not
you
really.
money? Where'd you get your money?
Has anyone here got money?
But like people still do stuff, right? You go Glastonbury, like society still.
Oh, I don't.
No.
You're just waiting around
My
for
thing
like
is-
Christmas.
Just waiting for
My,
to do this.
my thing is just living in London. I don't do anything in London.
Yeah, living-
I have
Oh,
enough
right,
to live
right,
there.
yeah.
And then that I just tell everyone that.
relatives will die, and then I'll have enough money for a
That's what I like. That honesty. Yeah. It's no, it's just that's just
turning on each other.
that's just real talk. Edinburgh
Yeah, it
is
is.
what is the God now it's getting realised. So what is the property like price up here?
High.
Is it expensive?
Rent is too damn high.
Well, what is it for like two?
Hello.
A 2-bedroom. Well, I mean, you're speaking to the people that have to rent a flat for a month and basically underwrite the. I mean,
That's
it's.
how we pay for our rent for the whole year.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, charge you.
And you go.
Oh.
Rent.
Oh, it's you guys. Oh, fucking hell, it's you.
Are you doing that? No, we're not.
Is that how young people have money? It's like there's just a constant cycle of Airbnb where no one's actually living in their place. Everyone's just renting. It's like a fucking pyramid scheme where at some point someone's going to go, shit, I want to move back in my house. No, you can't do it because everything fails if you do that. That's what's happening. I just cracked it, man.
You cracked it. We weren't going to tell you
very
that.
clever.
We weren't going to tell you that.
I think I'm annoying. Man.
We like to sort of near the end of the interview. We like to ask: is there anything you've always wanted to do that we might be able to
help you with.
No.
Yeah, there's nothing.
I would like to. I think because like this is like a dream job, but then I think once you get a dream job, you have to have another dream job. Do you know what I mean? Because then the dream job is just a job. So going back to the electronic music thing, I would like to be a DJ. I think I'd be fucking because I do think that music, Ian, wins right in terms of an experience. Comedy's great, but it is so transient. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you could like have the best gig ever, and then by the time people walked out of your venue into the bar, they don't give a fuck. Do you know what I mean? Whereas music, it just. I went to see Eric Prydz at Victoria Park in May, 15,000 people, and it just blew people away. And like people like glided. I mean, a lot of them were on drugs, right? But they just glided back to the tube station, and it was kind of sobering because you think like nothing comedy can ever do will ever do that, and it's, you know, jokes don't stand more than twice being retold. But like your favorite song, you'll probably listen to it throughout your whole life. It's depressing. I've just realised I'm in the wrong art form. Bullshit.
Assuming we can't help you get into the electric music scene.
Yeah,
but we can't make this. Oh, I suppose that's.
I don't think we can do that.
No.
I don't think we can do
But
that.
you know, having a musical accompaniment, being here with these lovely people tonight has been nothing to do with my dream. But you know, I would have just been sitting in my flat with the sad music in. Remember the sad music? I'm still gonna have it tonight, whatever happens when I get back.
You're gonna have this stuck in your head now.
Because all I have is sugary desserts at the moment. That is the only thing. So I'll be sitting there eating a millionaire cheesecake. And there is something aspirational about that, I think. And just, hoping that sleep comes upon me. If I could just eat enough carbs and fats, I might just pass out. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause, ladies and Geoff Norcott. Well, thanks for that, Geoff. Geoff will be touring his new show, Traditionalism, in spring 2018. More information about that can be found by searching Google for Geoff Norcott So Comedy, which I assume is his agent or something.
Yeah, so it sounds like it. Yeah. So episode 4 is going to be with Sakisa Bostwick Barnes. It'll be released on Wednesday, the 13th of December. If you want more information about anything, you can find us on Twitter at com after hours.
That
and
is shit, isn't
Facebook.
it? That is shit. We should definitely try and get a better
We
one
could,
than that.
yeah, we could.
But for now, it's at com
Yeah.
after hours.
And on Facebook at Comedians After Hours.
Also, thank you very much to everyone that came to see Kieran Hodgson the other day. It was an amazing success.
Thanks for
It
that.
was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we'll be releasing that probably in about a year's time. But yeah, thank you to everyone that came to that as well. See you later.
Have a nice evening.